I should have said hello to Apollo. I know he's there. He's on mute
We
now.
are live. I don't know how
Oh,
that's happened, but
because
apparently
Apollo,
we
did
are
you see
live.
Apollo? Apollo kind of was there and then he disappeared. So,
Yeah.
is
So it
Drew coming
appears,
on?
yeah, he is due to. So I'm not really sure what's happened. Apollo is in the back, probably prepping his other system so that we can get all the graphics up.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Premier League show, week 12 we're in. How are you doing, Neil?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good,
And there
Can't
he is.
complain. This week I can't complain. Actually, I can complain, but
Yay.
I'm not going to complain. It's a live show, so I won't say anything.
And there he is. Apollo, how you doing, brother?
Yeah, what's going on, guys, man? I just
Yeah.
finished the first episode of Gangs of London season 2, so I'm ready to go, baby.
Okay, so let's
ready
not
to go, man.
get too much into that because I'm still on season 1.
I haven't even started it yet. It's on my list. I've got so many things on my list to watch.
Bro,
You know what I mean?
I'm like you. I'm pretty much late to these shows. I've only just picked up the first few episodes this week, and oh my gosh!
Is that of the first series?
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to watch that as well. I need to watch that as well, man.
All I can say is, oh my gosh!
It is legit, man. It is legit.
Cool. All right.
So,
that's on my list.
as I said, we are expecting Drew to pop on at some point.
Hold on, did City win? Yeah, they did. They did. So Drew will be on. He'll be on.
They drew. They drew in midweek.
If they lose, Drew won't be on. If they lose, he won't be on. Yeah.
They drew, so Drew might not be on.
Yeah.
He did say he would be on, so let's expect him. So Dave and I had a chat earlier yesterday. So expect for people watching the show, do expect a show coming up soon.
It's on. It's already on the channel. It's
there. So guys, go and look at that. A rather elongated but impromptu chat with Dave Church, the Chelsea fan. We talk about Chelsea season up to date, transfers, takeovers, the way they're playing, targets, etc. And then, of course, he gives us his view of Arsenal. So it's kind of like a nice chat for between the two of us. So, guys, if you get a chance, go have a look at that. Where are we starting, Apollo? You got some graphics up for me?
Yeah, let's
probably start with last week's results, right?
Yeah, let's.
Let me get my phone out and ready for that.
Go. Yep, here we are.
Oh, yeah, we would be top, wouldn't we? Yeah, cheers. Thanks, gents. Thanks a lot. Do you know what I mean? Not even like warm into it, just straight into it.
Cam's saying Arteta likely to win. Cam's saying Arteta likely to win another manager of the month if we beat Forest because our record this month would be 5 league games, 4 wins and 1 draw. Yeah, I think that might be the same with City, though, isn't it? It might be the same with City.
Might be.
It'd be nice.
No, City lost. Liverpool.
Yeah. They
lost. That'd be manager. You know what? Let me see Man United because United
are doing all right. They're doing all right.
Let me just check United.
And Leicester seem to be kind of doing all right at the moment as well, isn't it? They starting to climb up now.
Well, so United had a draw. Before that, it was a win. Before that was a draw. Before that was a win, and before that was a loss. So the only other the only team that's got the same record as Arsenal in the last 5 games is Newcastle, 4 wins and 1 draw.
Yep.
And then Chelsea 3 wins and 2 draws. Newcastle look dangerous, boy.
I have been saying it. Watch out for Newcastle.
Yeah.
I honestly believe after their win at Tottenham, it weren't like they sneaked to win. They proper beat the hell out of Spurs.
Yeah, but they worked hard. They did work hard for that victory. The thing with Newcastle
and that's what they're doing. They're working extremely hard. They've got facets to their game that literally make me think they need to be. I spoke to Dave and he I think he was putting them in 7th, and I'm like, really, dude? Really?
So let's talk about the first game.
Neil?
Neil, do you want to lead off with this, because you're going to be my template for tonight?
I'm going to be the template for tonight.
Yeah.
All right, okay. I better like keep it all clean and stuff like that as well. Yeah.
Shall I tell you why before you carry on?
Why is that? Go on then.
Because Arsenal fans seem to think that 3 points is very easy and they can walk over every team, especially the ones at the middle and the bottom of the table. Now, this team just beat Liverpool. So what do Arsenal have to be concerned about with this coming Sunday?
Okay, put it this way. If you have a full squad, hardly any injuries, you walk it. It'll be a walk in the park.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, put it this way. When you look at the squad that Liverpool put out against Forest, we had Alisson in goal. We had Milner on the right. We had Gomez, Van Dijk, both central. We had Robertson on the left, yeah? Then we had I can't say his name, Harvey Elliott, Fabinho and Curtis Jones. And up front we had Mo Salah, Fabio Carvalho, I can't say his name either, and Robert Firmino. And that's a much weakened squad, yeah? Plus, at the same time, those guys also took Forest for granted. Yeah, we couldn't even get into the game at times, you know, and that's one thing that we've got to do. Whoever we're playing, whether they're at the bottom of the league, middle, or the top, we have to play well. I mean, look, we played well enough to beat City. How can you beat City one week and then give money away to Forest the following week? Yeah, you can't compete. You can't compare those two teams. Yes, we had injuries, but you can't compare those two teams, and we struggled in that game. Yeah, you look at the games afterwards, we've done okay. Yeah, we can score goals, but we need goals.
Because a football agent told me 2 days ago that Milner's thinking about joining Leeds in the new year to end his career there.
Do you know what? If he decides to do that in January or in the summer next, you know, at the end of the season, fair dues.
Because they won't let him go in the new year. They won't let him go.
Yeah, but he's earned it. Trust me, he's one of the few players. And when you look at him, as fit as he is and as good as he is, I've been round about the top of the league. I don't think he's got it anymore. He can't play those 90 minutes. Yeah. When you see him go, if he plays in defense, which he does sometimes for Liverpool, the young boys always run past him. He just can't do it. He's good. He's a good squad player, and he's good to bring in maybe halfway through the game, or if you want to slow the game down, or put him in midfield and kind of slow down the attack, yeah, and keep ball. He's a good player to have. But when you're talking about trying to dominate the game, play the ball from the back, defending well, he's not that player anymore, you know. But then again, at the same time, he's playing better than some of the players, younger players that we've got at this moment in time. That says a lot about our squad, you know. But yeah, it was a tough game. You know, props to Forest, they did well. Yeah. We started off 4-3-3. It just was not working. We had our chances as well. Yeah, we had our chances as well. We just didn't put them away. You know, and that's odds law, to be honest. I mean, Forest of all teams, Forest. You know, we dropped the points, man. We dropped the ball. You know, so bring on Leeds.
I'm having a little bit of problems with my mic at the moment. So look, it was a shock result. I don't think not a single person called that. So
not even Forest called that. Even when they were winning, they still couldn't call that.
Yeah, it's just a complete shock, and I don't know. I mean, there are some fundamental issues for that to happen. I mean, you'd expect that to happen in a cup game, wouldn't you?
Yeah, because normally in a cup game, especially what Liverpool tend to do, like all the other big clubs, is when they go against a team that they think they'll dominate, they'll put in their youngsters, give them a little run.
Yeah, I mean,
see how they do, and keep their big guns on the bench and bring them on if they need to.
So the only thing I didn't tell you what Colin Jordan told me, a football agent, is although he told me about Milner and Leeds, he also mentioned that Liverpool have inquired. And this is just, you know, inquiries. It doesn't mean anything. It just means they're phoning about availability and price. That they've inquired about Bruno Guimaraes along with Chelsea and Real Madrid.
Yeah, so, but do you know, when I hear stuff like that, I just take that with a pinch of salt,
As you should.
because
As you should.
because he's going to cost money anyway. Yeah. Will Liverpool fork out the money? Liverpool right now are known not to fork out the money unless we sell a good few players and make most of that money up. Yeah. And until we change that formula, we're always going to be struggling with getting players.
How much did he join Newcastle for? I can't remember what.
I'm not sure what the figure is, but right now he's looking. I was going to say right now he's looking at least a 50 million player at least. Yeah, that's a bit rich for Liverpool right now.
I think even that would be an understatement, because if you buy a player for 40 million and he does what he's doing in the Premier League, his value can't have just gone up 10 million.
No, it'll go. But I'm saying at least. Yeah. Right. Because if he was at the 50 million mark, Liverpool will kind of like, well, let's see who else goes in, see if we can compete with them. If we can't compete with them and we can't sell players, we'll just pull out.
And quite frankly, if Chelsea are in the market for him, then you got no chance, because they'll pay anything.
They've got a lot of kitty at the moment. A deal was done for the next 10 years that they'll get something like 200k, 200 million a transfer window.
Yeah, it's bonkers. Absolutely
it's ridiculous,
bonkers.
man.
But
ridiculous.
and that's why they spent $250 million.
Yep.
Of course. Can anyone tell me more about that? Because this is the first I'm hearing about it.
This was so when they were trying to prize it out of Abramovich's hands. Yeah. So part of what's the new owner's name?
Todd Bowley.
That's it. So part of what he was saying is, so that he could buy it, is that he would reinvest a lot of the money back into Chelsea, into the stadium, into the players and that sort of stuff. And the deal was done that for the next 10 years, he's going to be doing that investment, and it's going to be around about 200 million every time he you know what I mean? Which is a lot of money. It's not a lot of money. It's not a lot of money if you're looking at players like Mbappe and stuff, but you know what I mean? You can get decent players for like 30, 40, 50 million and add them to your squad. You know, so for them that'd be good money. And who's going to compete with that every season in, season out for the next 10 years? It's difficult unless those clubs, all the other clubs around them, are making money. You're just looking at Newcastle and City, who can definitely compete with that. Everyone else has had to go, well, who are we going to have to sell to try and compete with that?
Yeah,
I mean, again, if I just bounce in very quickly on the back of the conversation I had with Dave yesterday about Chelsea's investment during the summer, we ended up, I actually wrote down the list of names that Chelsea were interested in that they didn't get. At least 4 of them ended up at Barcelona, which included Lewandowski and Rafinha.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind the situation at Barcelona, no longer in the Champions League, it kind of stacks up that, you know what, they might be able to go back in for some of them players, because Barcelona are going to be in problems. They still haven't played De Jong.
Yep.
And he's literally sitting there playing and thinking, well, I ain't going anywhere till you pay me my money.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, guys, let's move on to Everton and Crystal Palace. First of all, it doesn't, I said last week, it's not a great season for Vieira. He's 13th in the table, and I thought he would be hovering around the Europa mark, at least around 7, 8, 9. And while he's probably just 3 points away from that, he's just had some really disappointing. I mean, you'd expect them to go in and beat Everton. On the flip side of that, in my opinion, with Everton, they've got something about them now with Lampard. I talked about their defense, about they are really shoring it up at the back. Shows again they've shut out Zaha and all them guys and Edouard and held them without a goal. The defense XG are among the top in the league, so they're really good at what they do on the defensive end. But he's challenged these players to find some consistency. And you look at how Steven Gerrard has gone by the wayside. Many people thinking Everton was going to be relegated in the summer, and look what he's come out and done. I mean, where are they now? They're 12th in the table, so they're one place above Crystal Palace. So that was a big win for Frank, and he's got Fulham this week, I think it is. So that's a great result.
Yeah, they got Fulham tomorrow at 5:30.
Yeah. No, it's
I
definitely.
mean,
Go on, Cox.
so okay, yeah. I was gonna say, they definitely are on the up, but I think that's because some of their players are starting to come back. Obviously, Dominic Calvert-Lewin's
Lewin
back.
is back.
You know, and Anthony Gordon is playing out of his skin at the moment. Yeah, they look.
I mean,
like,
basically, they've had a pretty decent team anyway.
yeah,
They just haven't been able. You know, they've been hit with injuries. They haven't been able to keep the form going of late. Well, not of late when they started out, and that's why they were doing so bad. I think they will probably they probably may end up in the top 10, or they'll be close to that by the end of this season. Yeah, they won't be cannon fodder. They're not going to be relegated. They're
I mean,
still
the
going to
two
be
defenders, Tarkowski and Connor Cody again. You know, good
Connor Cody.
acquisitions.
He's been a revelation to them.
I'm a big Cody fan. I wanted Arsenal to buy him, innit?
Yeah.
Well,
When
do
they
you know
were going
we
after Ben White, I wanted them to buy Cody.
we got rid of him too early, obviously, because he was with us first.
Everybody was with you, Danny Ings, the whole. We could name 50 players that was with Liverpool.
Can we say a big hello to in the chat, Luyanda?
Leander, yeah.
Yeah, Luyanda's from Sesotho, South Africa, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Hey, Leander.
And then there's 18's just joined the party. What's going on, 18?
Hey,
I hope
18.
everything's good with you, bro.
What's up, 18?
So, guys, moving on to Man City. Tony, what's your thoughts on Man City?
Oh, the Man City roller coaster goes on. You know, now you see me, now you don't. It's like a little bit of a hot and cold for them at the moment. Obviously, they lose the game before. They then go into Europe and win. Then they come back and they smash Brighton. Then they go back to Europe and they draw. So this has been a very up, down couple of weeks for Man City. You know, look, we talked about this on the show yesterday, Apollo. You know, with Man City and their rotation, is that their undoing right now? Is that affecting them? The fact that they are now using some of the players that, you know, they've bought, they're using some of the, you know, younger players. You know, I mean, they're still to use Calvin Phillips, of course. But
that's
you know,
crazy.
I forgot he was this.
They're going to be forced
he was there, you know,
something this weekend if Haaland isn't fit,
yeah,
following his withdrawal in the midweek. So, you know, right now, City, they're a bit of a mixed bag, and we've got them soon, right?
Yeah,
we got them soon. Although I now believe it's probably going to be moved back to the end of January. Looking at the fixtures, so I don't think we're going to play City this year. I just don't think that's going to happen. Leander says correct to South Africa. Yeah, big shout out to my man.
When you look at the squad rotation, the way they're rotating their players within that squad, they're still so much better than most of the teams in the league.
Well, I'm not sure,
but
because
the thing
we don't know what a Haaland.
Don't say what a Haaland looks like. Come on, man! They won last season without him. They didn't have him last season.
No, but last season was different because they had Sterling and they had Jesus. So I can't say it's apples.
Well, Jesus was a bit part player at times. Yeah, he there was a lot of games he did not start. But games
the ones he did start were big games against the top teams.
Definitely.
Even in these Real Madrid's City semi-final first leg when they won 1-0, he got man of the match. And
put it this way: if he was one of their top players in their eyes, would you guys have got him? Probably not.
Well,
he had to go because he wasn't getting enough games, and the same with Sterling.
Of course,
getting enough games. Yeah, right. That shows how strong they are. They can let players like that go and still have the confidence in the players that they've got. Yeah. Haaland, all Haaland was the icing, the cherry on top of the cake.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. It'll be a good test because I believe Ndidi, who's been out forever because of the hamstring problem, and Jonathan Evans are back. So slowly, those guys are coming back, but they're just a mess.
What you got to see with City, the thing with City is that the players that they've got, they haven't got, some of them haven't got a lot of experience playing with the other players in big games or in any game. And so it's going to take them a while to kind of gel and get in. But once they all get their groove, you're not going to notice who swapped in and who swapped out, because that's how they played. And that's how they played last season. That's why Sterling and Jesus had issues, because they were getting swapped when they're thinking, look, I should be getting 90 minutes every game.
Yeah, I think the only problem that I think Calvin Phillips is injured. And what's the other guy? Kyle Walker. I think they're both injured.
Kyle Walker's out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with at least Calvin Phillips knows that he's not a lone player like we've got Arthur, however you say his name.
Arthur Melo.
Yes.
Cam
Came in on loan, played about 30 minutes or so, and then that's it. He's out. He's out injured for what, the next 3 months or so.
That's
great. That was a great acquisition.
Man. He's going to come back. You didn't know about a player we had called Kim Kallstrom. Apollo, tell him about Kim Kallstrom.
Yeah, bought the player. He was already Brock. For some reason, they didn't. Yeah, for some reason, they had supposedly done a medical behind closed doors, which now we found out that no Arsenal players or any Arsenal medical stuff was a part of. Apparently,
part of it then?
Their team, apparently because they were so desperate for the player, their team said, we'll do the medical, sent him over, and then when our doctors got to him, he was injured. It was a back injury, and
back injury.
Yeah, and he never played. Nothing happened with the guy. It was terrible. Worst deal ever done.
Worst deal ever done.
Yeah, for us it was a loan, so we can throw him back.
Yeah, he was alone. It was alone.
Oh, he was a loan player for you guys, yeah?
Yeah, but he never played. He was literally injured the whole time, even before he came.
Well, I can't complain because we got about 30 minutes out of Mr. Mello.
Mad. Leander says Haaland, De Bruyne injured for a few weeks. It will show. Yeah, they would. I didn't know De Bruyne was going to miss this game, but if that's confirmed, then they could. This could be it, man. I'm just waiting for them to slip up. To be honest, we're waiting for them to slip up. He says, "How could we forget about Kim Kallstrom?" So there's a couple of big games in here. Obviously, the Tottenham Newcastle, which are going to come on to, but the Chelsea and Man United really showed me something, Tony. It showed me that these are the two dark horses. These are the two main challenges to City and Arsenal. And notice I'm not talking about Spurs, and that's because for me, Spurs are just getting exposed. Their style of football, they've not beaten a big team yet this season. They should have lost to Chelsea in week 2. They lost to Arsenal. Newcastle just battered them again. And for me, they're just not the team. And their style of football is too safe. He's parking the bus. He's flooding the back. They're not exciting going forward. And every Spurs fan, Jason Cundy, every Spurs fan is just complaining about this style of football. And it makes me wonder, how long does Conte really have? Because this is Jose Mourinho all over again.
I was just going to say he sounds like a Jose Mourinho in disguise. Yeah, he sounds like
how long? How long are the fans going to accept it? We know they had to win something coming into this season, and honestly,
we all know who the fans want and who's sitting waiting in the sidelines waiting to make a return.
Yeah. I honestly, I don't. Everybody's talking about them and top 4, and I know sometimes Andy thinks that I'm bantering him, but I'm honestly, truly saying this out of my heart. I don't think that they're in the top 4 best teams in the country. I really don't. I think they're behind Newcastle. I think they're behind United, and I think they're behind Chelsea. I really do. At the moment, I think Spurs are playing for 6. It's just my opinion.
Well, we'll have to see what happens midway through the second half of the season, because that's where you can see where people are more or less going to end up.
Yeah. So, guys, what's your thoughts on that game? I mean, did you expect it to be? It was hard fought. And
it was a tough game. Both teams showed what they've got and what they've got to offer for the rest of the season. So they're not going to be a rollover for any team that goes up against them. Yeah, they are
Yeah.
going to. They're going to. Obviously, they're going to go to win every game they play. They're
Mm.
going to go to win, and they're going to play that well. But for me, United play better without Ronaldo, man. They definitely play better without him. You know.
Well, you wouldn't
Yeah.
said that yesterday. Looking at their Europa League game.
Yeah, I know. No, don't get me wrong. Ronaldo is always going to be the difference maker. Yeah.
So how do
But
they
but
play better without him, bro? I
hold on,
don't get your logic.
hold on. He might be one of the best players they've got as an individual, but when you put him in the team, sometimes it does. A lot of the times it doesn't work. A lot of times it doesn't work when you look at how they play, how they possess the ball, and how they defend.
When you say
Yeah.
a lot of the time, though, Neil, I don't get it. Where's the statistics that say playing Ronaldo doesn't create chances? Because if
I'm
you
not saying it
base
doesn't create chances.
if you base that opinion on what they did last year, the stats will tell you different. He scored
Last
in a
year.
lot of games.
Yeah.
He was the difference maker for that team.
Mm.
He was a difference maker, but you look at the season before. They played better. They came second. Was it last season? That season or the season before? They came second.
Is the difference really Ronaldo? Because let's be honest, without him this season, I don't think they're looking that good.
Look.
I mean, I know we're talking about their result against Chelsea, and it was a decent result. But I'll be honest with you, I thought Chelsea were the better team. Me personally.
No, in that game, I thought Chelsea were the better team as well. But
what I would say is, look, you've got an aging player there, yeah, in Ronaldo. You probably have to change your system somewhat to accommodate him.
Which they're not doing.
What I'm saying is he an absolute scrub? No. Because I tell you what a lot of teams could do with is a striker who knows how to put the ball in the back of the net.
Oh, no,
And
you're right.
He can still do that at a high level.
No, he can still do that, but you've got to look at before they get the ball to that position. You've got to look at how they play. You've got to look at how they defend. Yeah.
Okay,
overall, the season they came second.
Yeah.
They still have not matched that yet, and they have Ronaldo in the team. They still
not
haven't
going
matched
to.
it yet.
They're not going to because Rashford ain't that guy anymore. Yeah. Anthony Martial ain't that guy. Bruno Fernandes ain't that guy.
Fernandes changed. When Ronaldo came in, Fernandes changed. That's when you see the difference. Yeah.
Don't forget, in that season that you're lauding, Harry Maguire was a G. He's now public laughing stock.
Of course. Well, I've always been laughing at him, even when he was a G. So you know.
So guys, are we going to say now that the shock result of the week? Actually, no, the shock result of the week was Forest Liverpool. So the second shock result of the week was Aston Villa 4, Brentford 0, straight after Stevie G's. What on earth happened there?
That wasn't a shock. I'm telling you, right, and I said it before, that wasn't a shock. As I said, I wasn't surprised if the players played like that to get rid of him, right? Because you're talking about, it's basically, that was a different team. That was a completely different team to the team that was playing under Gerrard, even though it's the same players. The way they just swept Brentford aside. Nobody sweeps Brentford aside like that. Nobody sweeps them aside
was it
like
two
that.
fingers up at Gerrard, or was it I'm playing for Unai Emery? Which one was it?
I think it's a bit of both. I think it's a bit of both. I mean, come on, man. From when I mean, the writing was on the wall for Gerrard from when he took the captaincy away from Mings. Yeah, and you know, and there was no proper explanation why he did that. Yeah?
He ain't good enough. That's what it seems to me.
Well, you know, he's being given the captaincy for a reason, and it's not necessary. When players get captaincy, it's not just about what they do on the pitch; it's what they do behind the scenes as well. It's how they keep the communication and the team together. Yeah, because
this is the thing. None of us know what was going on, so we can't comment and say,
that's what I'm saying.
Apart because of Tyrone Mings.
No. But what I'm saying is, if you look at it, the way the captaincy was taken away from him, and there was no proper explanation, you know that something was going on, and it just did not come out. Yeah.
So guys,
and ever since that happened, go on, Paulo.
No, let me quick. I just wanted to get your thoughts about, is Unai Emery is that a good person to bring in? Is that going to work?
I believe it is. I believe he's a fantastic manager. I've always said it. I will always support Unai Emery. I mean, but for 3 games in the end of that season, and it literally is 3 games, 2 in the league and 1 in the final, in a European final. We haven't been to a European final. Only person to take us to a European final in how many years is Unai Emery.
I think Emery going to Aston Villa is a good shout for Aston Villa, but it's still too early yet, because you've got to see, once they get over the honeymoon period and when he brings his players in, you've got to see how they start performing then. Yeah,
there's going to be. I'll tell you what, they're going to work harder.
Of course, they're going to want to work hard, because they're all fighting for their positions, and they want to be that person in that position, the number 1 person in that particular.
Yeah, because he gets his teams to overly work hard. They're going to have a problem with the language barrier. That's going to be an issue for them. Although I believe he's been still working on speaking English since he left Arsenal. But my biggest reason is this: he was brought into Arsenal to win the Europa League. That was his job, and that's a far cry from coming in and just making Villa competitive. It's an easier job to just make Villa competitive than it is to say, you got to win the Champions with the Europa League for Arsenal to get them in the Champions League. It's a different kettle of fish.
Yeah,
so
but we know what we know about Unai Emery is he can take a team of middle of the road players and elevate them so they become European Cup winners, because he's done it over and over and over and over. Was it 4 times now?
Yeah,
I think they both win. I think Villa win because they get a credible manager.
Yeah.
Who can bring them up the league. Yeah.
Yeah.
Emery, his slate is wiped clean now. He's come back into the Premiership. If he does well with them, that's got the rest of the world looking at him. He's taken he's taken a good side and he's brought them up the league. Yeah. So if they end up in a good position, right, that's good on his CV. Right, if they end up in a good position for them, that's great, because they didn't, obviously the way they were playing, they weren't going to get to those positions under Gerrard. Yeah, so it's a win. Right now it's a win-win, but we have to wait until after the January window, see if they bring in any players that he may suggest, and see if they, see how they play. It's going to take them a while, but right now they're going to be playing
Aston Villa are a very rich club. They have a lot of money. They can go out and get them some pieces.
So they might be backing him. Leander says Emery started Saka, Martinelli, Smith Rowe, Guendouzi. He has an eye for young talent. I agree with that. Good to see you, Stu. Stu says 101 on Arsenal. Gerrard lost cup ties to St Mirren, Hibs, Aberdeen, and St Johnstone. He won a league title against the woeful Neil Lennon. Hasn't done anything. Alex McLeish, bigger legacy. I agree with you there. And then Leander says Emery could challenge for 7th spot. It is. I totally agree. And guys, remember, just reminding everybody who's tuned in that October, we've got 2 or 3 more days left for the Arsenal shirt. There's everyone who's donated to the channel via the donation button or the thanks button on any of the videos goes into a prize draw, and everybody will be in there to win an Arsenal jersey for this season. Stu says, Emery took a car boot sale squad to the Europa League. Exactly. Thank you very much, my friend. I always said that in terms of what they were working with, considering what this guy had, honestly, then Ramsey splitting Uber, Laka. If Ramsey didn't get injured, I'm sure he would have got top 4 and beaten Chelsea 2-0. Fair shout.
Fair shout.
Yeah, fair shout. So that leaves us on to Leeds Fulham. What a competitive game. I think this is the most enjoyable game of the week.
I think for me that was the game of the week. The game of the week. I mean,
very entertaining. Very
two teams kind of struggling, not got great form where they are at this moment in time. And they just put it all out there. That was a good advertisement for the Premier League.
Agreed.
Forget the big clubs. That game was great.
100%.
Yeah, it actually put some of the big clubs to shame, realistically, in the way they fought for the ball, the way they played end-to-end stuff. It was a great game.
So for me now, I just want to say, I told you so, because we had the pre-game show, and I was talking to a couple of members of this panel, and I mentioned Mitrovic, and everybody laughed. Not everybody, but most people laughed and said he'll barely get 5 or 6 goals this season. He's now got 9 goals in 11 starts.
Yep.
He's
Yep.
averaging, hear this, only Erling Haaland is averaging more goals per 90 minutes than this guy is. He scores a goal every 103 minutes. That's nuts. 9 goals in 11 games. That is absolute nuts.
He's clearly brought his Coca-Cola Championship form into the league this season. That's what he's done, because he kicked it up when they last season. You know, he was doing. What did he score? Was it 40 goals?
Yeah. That's right, 41. And not just that, but it's propelled Fulham to 7th place.
Yep.
I mean, it was such an entertaining game, as Neil says. You know, one way to the other. Fulham on the, you know, coming back from, you know, a deficit and then winning the game. It just had everything. You know, a real high-paced, action-packed game of football. You know, sometimes you think like, oh, let me watch this game, and you just accidentally watch some. I think it was last week, Neil. I might have mentioned to you how I lost 90 minutes of my life watching some game of football that was, and then like God. You know, a couple of days later, I'm watching Leeds Fulham, and I'm thinking to myself, what am I watching?
Yeah,
this is the nuts.
Bro, Skins versus Bears, Chicago Bears Skins was just, it was what a waste of time. It was a Thursday night game, so you can imagine me on a Friday morning. Like, what on earth did I just put myself through? 4 a.m. in the morning. Anyway, the less said about that, the better. Neil, you're not into the NFL, are you, Neil?
No.
Oh, wow.
Maybe I need to get into it, because clearly I'm missing something, yeah?
Mate, yeah. I mean, people ask me what is my biggest rivalry in football, and they expect me to say Arsenal Spurs. It's Dallas Washington, man.
Yeah.
You know, when I go to Arsenal games, I hear people shouting and chanting. When I go to NFL games, I see them burning the other team's jersey in fire, like burning their clothing and shit like that. I mean,
that's because we're a little more civilized, sir.
Well, there's one thing I will say to you: it might be civilized, but their fans sit next to each other.
Yeah.
You know, I can't ever imagine that happening in the Premier League.
Oh, do you know that? No, the one place that does happen at times is the Merseyside derby, because a lot of families are split down the middle.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of families in Merseyside are Reds and Blues.
Yeah, and the other place it happened just this week, actually. Interestingly, Apollo was in the game against PSV. I don't know if you noticed, they kept showing this poor fella. He was with his missus. He was wearing an Arsenal top. She was wearing a PSV top. And obviously, as the game progressed and PSV started scoring, she got happier and happier. He got worse. He got sadder and sadder. They kept picking him out on TV.
Is that the one where she was wearing a scarf as well, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Is that the one? Yeah. Poor guy.
My God. So that brings us to the dreaded Arsenal Southampton. Now, sometimes I think that everybody forgets how much Arsenal has kind of really struggled against Southampton. And it was just one of those games where, yeah, we did struggle against Southampton, and it wasn't the result that the fans... I kind of sniffed it, that it would happen, and it did. And guys, look, in I think it was April, we played them this year, April, at their place, and they beat us 1-0.
Yeah, but you've got to remember that Southampton, even when they struggle, when they go against certain teams, they raise their game, and it's like you're not playing the same team that was that was struggling in relegation positions. Yeah, they do that every now and then. They'll come up against a top team and they'll just play out their socks, and you're just sitting there kind of thinking, hold on, what's wrong with this script? This script is wrong. They haven't read the email. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they haven't got the memo.
Yeah, exactly. What's going on? You lot were playing crap last week. Why are you playing well this week? You know, and that's how they are. That's why you always every season you see them close to the bottom, and then they always play well enough for enough games to get out of that relegation battle, and they're safe.
And Tony,
Yeah.
that was Arsenal's first draw in 27 games.
Yeah, I mean it was a difficult game, but as I mentioned yesterday, I think we're getting to a point where I think some of the fluidity is seeping away and not quite coming with the same energy that it did at the start of the season.
Do you think your players are getting tired?
Yeah,
They say they're
you've
not.
kept a high
but
level.
I
You've
think
kept a high level.
I think something is going on. I really do.
Yeah. You've
Well,
kept a high level of play.
the one thing I was watching Charles Watts in midweek, and he said that the data, the XG data, and the kilometers run, and the shots on goal and shots on target in the second half of all of our games in the last 3 matches have all halved.
Wow.
So there definitely is something going on there. Whether the players want to admit it or not, the data shows that we're running less, we're taking less shots, we're pressing less. So yeah, all signs show that the team is fatigued.
Is it
And
fatigued?
look,
Is it fatigued, or you're trying to manage the game differently?
I said to Tony last week, I think that there's also a mental fatigue as well.
Yeah.
Because now you've got the added pressure, you see. So it's not just let's go out there and do this, let's go out there. Now you're concerned, and because it's on now, you're no longer a secret. You're not the best kept secret in the league anymore. Everyone, and I said this last week, you got a target on your back, and everyone is going to have their arrows, their scopes, and everything aimed at you. And when you're the youngest team in the league, that makes a difference. We've not had that. We didn't have it last year, the year before that, or the year before that. And expectations now we're going to see that as an added pressure. Liverpool, that doesn't bother them. City, that doesn't bother them. Those things they're used to. Arsenal, the youngest team in the league, having that kind of pressure, having the pressure that we must win today. We cannot leave here without 3 points. Liverpool showed us last season that they were able to do that and still lost the title by a point.
Yeah,
Arsenal, if they're going to be in this is the mindset they have to have. And quite frankly, I don't think they have it. I don't think they have the mental capacity to actually achieve this. Physically, I think they do. Mentally, no.
Well, then that's down to Arteta, right? To make sure your boys get over that hurdle.
Possibly, but and I know Tony's going to chime in there, but for me, I've always said that Arsenal have always been ahead in their development. I know Tony doesn't agree with me, but this was a 3-year plan to get back into the Champions League. And year 1 was let's get back into Europe. They were challenging for the top 4. Year 2 was supposed to be let's challenge for the top 4, and now they're challenging for the title. So they're some teams overpromise and underdeliver. These guys are delivering, and it's no longer about. I know Bertram was bringing up a point about we've spent this much money, and then we went through what teams actually did spend, and Arsenal spent the 7th most. So in conjunction, I know if we add it up over 3 years, it's a lot. But last summer, Chelsea spent and Man United spent double what we did, double. So it's not about money. It's not about that. Everybody has pressure. Everybody spent money, which means everyone's got the pressure. It's not Arsenal. No one can say, "Oh, Arsenal's got pressure because they spent all that money." No, everyone's got that.
And the thing is, like, the thing that I think we as fans are reticent to get to grips with is, in order to compete at the top of any of the big European sort of leagues, you have to be able to compete financially to attract players, because
Of course.
Real Madrid can buy who they want. Paris Saint-Germain have got untold wealth. Bayern Munich, they don't spend untold wealth, but they just do the right business.
They're always bringing the right players.
The Bayern model is just superb. They don't
look at what Mane's doing for them now.
Yeah, I mean, they don't fleece their fans to the tune that we do. But as well as they dominate their league, you know, look at them in Europe. They're not quite the force. You know, Man City, Chelsea, Newcastle, you know, and a few now other teams in the English Premier League are now able to reinforce their squad with 60-70 million pound players. So whereas at one time you used to think, well, let me get 160-70 million other player and then get a couple of 20s, a couple of 15s, and maybe a 30. Now you've got to get 6 or 7 50s and a 100.
Exactly.
Because if you look at what Chelsea did, they did an 87 and about 3 50s.
They're changed, man. They're changed your spend.
It's a different game now.
Yeah.
You know, Man City can do that. I mean, they managed to get lucky because they only paid a marginal fee for Haaland. But effectively, they bought a 150 million pound striker this summer.
Yep. And that's what's gonna differ City and Newcastle and Chelsea from the rest of the league.
Yeah, I mean, even Barcelona gone out and spent stupid money to get Lewandowski, and they still bought in 3 or 4 other 50 million plus players.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Cam, I think Neil has already answered that question, and you know, I think it's going to come down to injuries. Neil's been talking about the availability of players.
Yep.
Yeah. And
I mean, some of those players. I mean, we've got good news that Thiago looks like he's probably going to be playing tomorrow. Konate is back. I'm saying Keita, but Keita hasn't delivered since he's got to Liverpool. There was a lot of promise, but he's never delivered for enough games. So we'll just have to see how he gets put back into the team, how well he plays. But yeah, hopefully over the next few weeks we'll get our main players back and we'll start playing some decent football and getting the results that we deserve. But we'll have to see.
Yeah, the next game, which is Wolves 0, Leicester 4, it really hurts me because every week I have to come on podcasts and talk about Wolves' injuries and, you know, Neto, Jimenez, you know, all those players that can hit the back of the net, and those players they're just not back for them, and I don't know when they're coming back. I know they're not back this week. Some of you lot might say, oh, they went out and bought Diego Costa. Have you seen Diego Costa play?
You're not right.
He was 7 yards out last week, had a clear shot of goal and blasted it clean over the net. And it's not what you want
Costa,
when you're
I still have to question why they got him. Seriously, I have to question why they got him.
Knee-jerk reaction. Teams do it, innit?
Because he's a proven striker, mate. I mean,
he was.
But you know what, Neil? You say that, but we're now in a game where you've got a guy at 38 in Ronaldo who's still banging goals. You've got a guy named Messi who's 37.
You just talked about the 2 best players in the world.
Exactly. You can't
look at their age. They're still banging goals.
No. You Cox. You're right. You're absolutely right. Right. The players are lasting longer, and they're now starting.
It's still balling, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Look at Milner.
Yeah.
Milner's still playing, man.
Giroud is still balling. He's a first teamer for AC Milan, top of the league.
Yeah.
Understand. Players are still. This is the age where players are playing into their 40s.
I do agree with that, but we're talking about the player in his individual facet, and this is Diego Costa we're talking about.
Costa.
Imagine how much teams passed on him for him to sign for Wolves.
No.
Dude, how many goals did Diego Costa score last year? Do you know?
I don't know, but I know that they you know, Chelsea. Why didn't Chelsea go in for him?
Because he's not what they were looking for. They wanted a younger, fitter, faster striker.
They got Aubameyang.
But then that's what you've got to look at. What you've got to look at is you've got to look at the older players. You look at the ones that are banging in and look at how good they are up until now, right? Costa has gone downhill. Yeah, when you compare him to the other players like Messi, Ronaldo, what's his name? That's Lewandowski, right? You look at
Yeah.
how those players are playing at this moment in time. You compare them to Costa. Guaranteed, if you had them all in the line, Costa's the last one you're picking. You're going to take one of the others first. Yeah, he's. I'm not saying he's not a good player. He's just not the player he used to be.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I
and
agree.
I don't see him reverting back to that player. And
But guess
definitely
what they did?
definitely being at
Says
Wolves.
Jimenez is
Yeah, but
Definitely
hang
not.
on,
back
hang
in
on.
2 weeks.
What did they do to offset that? They gave him a pay-as-you-play contract. It's a win-win situation, bro.
No. For
If
him,
you
for
But
him, it's a
they're
play,
not
win-win.
winning, bro. He
But
might be
they're not winning.
They're not winning.
Exactly, they're not winning. That's the thing.
okay, let's just put it this way: if you haven't got a striker, you could do a lot worse than pick a guy who knows how to bang the ball in the back of the net.
So here's
I mean,
the
I
joke,
don't.
guys.
I'm a say.
Well, they had. So hold on. What was the young striker that they got that they sold? Well, they moved on. Tall. I can't remember. I can see his face, but I can't remember his name. Tall, long, stringy hair. He was playing up front for them last season. You see, you can't even remember him now.
When Jimenez had that head injury.
Yeah. He was a young player. Young player that came in, and he looked like he was going to be one of their future players. Yeah, and next thing you know, he's disappeared, and he's playing. Is he playing in?
I
He's
can't
playing in
remember
Spain
who
now.
it is.
Well, they got the Korean guy. He was a big hit for them. He's still there.
Yeah, no,
Was
not
that
him. This is
Daniel
young.
Podence?
No, not Podence. It's
No.
he's actually I think he's Spanish. He may be Spanish or
Portuguese, probably.
or Portuguese.
Like
I can
most
see
of
his
the
face.
team.
Yeah, I can see his face, but I cannot remember his name. He was a young guy. He's really tall as well.
Here's the joke, guys. Here's the joke, yeah? The leading goal scorer is a winger in Armand Traore. And
Yep.
the other winger it was Daniel Podence. Both of them have got 2 goals each. That's the leading goal scorers. The other guy with 2 goals is Ruben Neves, but he scored a couple of penalties. So and then and those guys have all played 10, 11, 12 games. And then Jimenez has only scored
Fabio
1 goal.
Silva.
Oh, Fabio Silva.
Yes,
Okay.
Fabio Silva.
I mean,
I'm not trying to make out like Diego Costa is the best thing since sliced bread, but sometimes when you're desperate for a striker and you just want someone to get on the pitch and score goals, yeah, that's what you're prepared to do because it's a tried and tested formula. Chelsea did it last year. They were so desperate for a striker that they gave up on the concept of what can Lukaku do when he's not got the ball.
Yeah, what they do is
score goals.
They look for experienced players who scored in the goals, irrespective of their form. They bring them in thinking this guy can still get us goals. If we put him in the right position on the pitch and get the ball to him, he'll bang in goals.
Tony, I think you've just convinced KS that we should go out and buy Diego Costa.
He ain't the one.
What do you mean? Hold on. You're singing his praise, and now you're saying he's not the one for you guys.
I'm saying that I can understand the reasons why you would bring in a guy like that.
I get that as well.
Sometimes you do that. Sometimes a team they need a player in a position, and what you do is you pick someone who's experienced over somebody who's because every team's got a striker in their under 21s. Every team's got a striker in their under 18s, under 17s, under 16s. We brought a player 15 years old on our pitch this season. Youngest Premier League player ever. A 15-year-old. So what you got to say is, were we that desperate that we had to play a 15-year-old?
Yeah, I know you didn't say that, KS. I was just bantering Tony. He's just saying, a lot of people are now coming out saying we need a striker. We need a striker. Well, I mean, I don't think we need a striker. I think we need another attacking player because when you consider that most of our attacking front players can play as a striker, Martinelli, Nketiah, Jesus, they can all play as a lone striker. I think also, yes, it would be nice to have a bigger, taller option, as in a big 6'2", 6'1", or whatever. But I mean, you can't. I mean, we're doing so much in the transfer market. It's impossible to do it all at the same time, I think. Bertram, good to see you, Bertram. It'd be nice to see you on the show, Bertram. I know you finished work. Bertram saying 15-year-old was just for show, Tony.
It was, but that's what I'm talking about. Is sometimes you bring in a player and you just want to see him, or you just do it for show. But sometimes you bring in an older player because you just want experience on the pitch. Because look at AC Milan.
He's had 6 games and he ain't scored. He's had 6 games.
AC Milan have got 2 of the oldest strikers in world history.
Yeah.
They got Giroud and Ibrahimovic.
Yeah,
combined age of about 88. It's like you know what I mean.
Bertram saying none of our front players are prolific goal scorers. I'm not sure. I think Jesus is a good goal scorer. His record at Man City, 200 odd starts and 93 goals, shows that he's and again, define prolific goal scorer, because he's somebody who can score goals, and he's showing that at Arsenal. It's just every striker goes through a bad patch, Bertram. Every striker. I don't know whether Haaland does, because Haaland's record. I saw his record the other day, and it was something ridiculous. He's scored more goals than games he's played. Put it that way. So he's the exception, not the rule. But outside of that, every striker does go through a blip. And
absolutely.
I think what we don't want to do is just over heavily critique the situation just because we're going through that. But look, we all know,
like Liverpool fans do to Salah.
Yeah. But listen, when he's playing well, or when he goes through a blip, the man still has chances, and he has so many chances per game. He should be hitting the same numbers that Haaland is hitting. That's the amount of chances he's had.
And bro, that's the situation with Jesus against Bournemouth. He should have had a hat trick. Against Fulham, he should have had a hat trick.
Yeah.
In the game that we drawed against Southampton, he had Odegaard could have had 4 assists. He had 3 shots on a plate and couldn't bury and put it in the back of the net. And then Nketiah had a chance and missed as well. So
I mean, let's just put it this way, guys. I mean, this is a conversation for another occasion. But who is the most prolific striker in football history? Because I remember clearly Thierry Henry was not that clinical.
Well,
he scored a lot of goals.
He scored a lot of goals.
When you say prolific, right? Everybody has their own idea of what prolific should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you bring up loads and loads of strikers who you would consider prolific strikers, but when you compare them to players like Haaland, are they?
The names we're bringing up are generational strikers. Thierry Henry, Haaland. That's not the norm.
I know, but what I'm saying is what's your idea of prolific? Because when you bring up other names like Salah and players like that, right? Are they prolific? You'll probably say yes, and then you compare them to a generation strikers. You call them like flipping Haaland. Is he prolific?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It depends on what your idea of prolific is.
And that's why I said to Bertram, define prolific, because from where we've come from with Lacazette and Aubameyang last season, Jesus is money, man. So
for real.
And I think the worst thing is, and I have to say this so everybody understands the context, because it is all about context. Lacazette weren't even in the penalty area to score goals last season. He weren't. And Jesus, you'd rather have a striker who's shooting on target and missing chances and balls getting saved than a guy who's not shooting at all. So so that's where we are at the moment, because Jesus is getting so many chances. That the goals are just going to come. He can't not be like this for the whole season. But I do agree, and everybody, look, we all know we tried to get Rafinha, we tried to get another attacking player, and it didn't come off. So we are down a man. We are down a man. Bertrand saying Martinelli, Saka, Odegaard are not prolific goal scorers. Henry was a scorer of great goals and the Premier League record of 20 assists as well. So look, we all agree, Bertrand. We're all saying what needs to be said, but it's just the situation at hand at the moment that we're probably going to go out, which is what Tony said, and strengthen. But at the same time, we have to ensure that we bring our young talent back and extend their contracts. So, guys, let's enjoy. I'm going to sit back and let everybody enjoy talking about Tottenham losing to Newcastle 'Cause I really don't have anything to say. I knew it was going to happen. Tony predicted it as well. Look, Tottenham they're not good. They're not a good team.
I thought that was going to be a draw.
They're not a good team.
They're not.
Do you know? I think Spurs are okay. I think they're a decent squad. Yeah. Unfortunately, their manager is more of a defensive type manager, and I think he's holding some of those players back.
Neil, I said to you, they should have lost against Chelsea. God knows how they didn't. They lost against Arsenal. They lost against Newcastle. They lost against Man United. Every top team they've played, they're not any good. They're not a good team.
I can't say anything until we play them. which is I think that's next week actually. Is that next week or the week after? Yeah, we play them soon.
Yeah. And guys, hear the joke. This is Spurs' best start to a season. Go figure. This is their best start to a Premier League relationship season, so go and work that one out.
well, you know, Andy's not here to kind of defend that, right?
You can't defend it, man. He's the one that said how proud he was because it's their best start to a season. You know, so
no, they have started well. They've done okay,
but they ain't playing great football, Neil. They ain't.
Do you know when United was dominating back in the day? There was lots of games they should not have won, but they still winning the titles. Yeah, United were purely winning ugly a lot of the times, just winning ugly. So you know, as long as you get the points at the end of the day, doesn't matter whether you play well or not, or whether you look good or not. As long as you get the 3 points.
After the first 8 games, everybody was saying, "Look, you know, fair enough, they're not playing well, but they're getting the results." Now they're not playing well, and they're not getting the results.
Yeah.
So guys, the last game of the week, and then I'll let Tony preview next week's game because I can hear my wife calling me, so something's going on. But the last game is West Ham Bournemouth. Now, I've got to tell you a little story. Everybody knows Ian, who's a West Ham fan who comes on these podcasts. He will be coming back soon. And one of my old friends, Chris Tame, who is a guy I used to work for a long time ago. And I said to them, how on earth do you pay 40 million for Scamacca and you don't start him in the first 5 games of the Premier League? Can you imagine Arsenal spending 40 million on Jesus and sitting him on the bench for the first 5 games of the season? And not just that, but every time when they sat him in the league on the bench, you know what they did? They played him in Europe and he scored every week. So this guy who you paid 40 million for was scoring in Europe. And then when the league came, you benched them and your team stopped scoring. But anyway, long story short, they played him in the league. And guess what? He's starting to score every game. It's ridiculous. And West Ham are now in 10th place. Tony, I see Tony nodding his head. It's just like, where's the logic in spending that much problem, you know, and that much money on a striker?
But 40 million isn't really a great deal of money for a striker.
It is for West Ham.
It isn't. Again, West Ham are a team with a lot of money. Yeah, let's not pretend like they don't go out and they spend big money in the summer.
Tony, he was their big summer signing.
Yeah, he was their big summer signing. But
they could not score for love or money, Tony, and the guy was sitting on the bench. Come on.
Yeah, but there's obviously there's things going at the back end of it that we can't see, that we don't know about. Moyes is making the decision of when he plays and when he doesn't play. Is it the right decision? Only Moyes knows that. You know, if they're not playing him and not scoring, and yet he can score, then maybe that's a mistake. Maybe Moyes is learning more about the team now they've brought this player on as well. Because it's either he knows what he's doing or he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
But when the Scamacca does play, he does score. And it does look a bit silly to.
And the thing you've got to remember, Scamacca is a striker, and he plays in exactly the same place as Mikel Antonio.
Yeah.
Mikel Antonio last year was phenomenal for West Ham. So you kind of go, well, I ain't playing them both because I'm playing one striker. It's like Arsenal with Eddie and Jesus. You love Eddie, but we ain't playing him. We're playing one striker. And that's what Moyes is chosen to do at West Ham. and he knows which side his bread is buttered on.
Plus, you know, it could.
Antonio is the done deal. He's the finished article. He's the archetypal, hardworking bully boy, rough and tumble striker.
But then you've also got to look at that because Antonio is the tried and tested, and Scamacca isn't, right? What if it went the other way around? What if Moyes decided to say, do you know what, I'm going to start playing Scamacca more and Antonio less, and he wasn't banging in goals? Then everybody was saying, well, we've got this 40 million striker. We're giving him too many games. He's not scoring goals, and yet we got Antonio on the bench.
Exactly.
You know, after he done well last season. So, you know, as I said, we don't know all the pieces to Moyes' puzzle, and clearly some of it has backfired. Some of it has backfired, right?
Yeah, I agree.
We know that when he has played him, he scored.
Yeah, he scored because he's got 4 goals this season in all competition, which leads the team. So you're definitely right. He's averaging 185 minutes per goal. Antonio's 242 minutes.
Right. So Antonio's form clearly has dropped, but Moyes still has a lot of faith in Antonio, and he's still hoping that this guy's going to start banging goals like he was last season. And up till now, it's just backfired. Yeah.
Agreed. So Tony, do you want me to put up next week's games?
Yeah, please.
I think I've just got to run for a second. Bertram should be coming in. I just sent him the link.
Oh.
Hold on.
Stand the man.
Some real juicy games next season. Next week, sorry.
Next season.
yeah. Sorry, I can hear the calling in the background.
You've seen the game fixture before anybody else has even made them. Next season.
Yeah. Hold on, guys. I'll be back in a second.
Okay,
cool.
So tomorrow morning kicks off with Leicester City at home to Man City. We have mentioned this slightly. Neil, what's your prediction?
Haaland and De Bruyne aren't playing. I still think City will win this, but it's not going to be a high-scoring game. 2-0.
I'll join you on that one. 2-0 for me. Bournemouth at home to Tottenham.
Tottenham are going to bounce back. They're again still not going to be a high-scoring game. I think will probably 2-1 to Tottenham.
So the problem here, what you may not have realised, is Tottenham have got a must-win game on Wednesday. Must-win game.
Yeah.
It might even be Tuesday.
Champions League, yeah.
They can't afford to go hell for leather. I think Bournemouth here could cause an upset if Tottenham are heads on for that European game.
Yeah, I mean, Conte likes to preserve his players when at times. You got to look at where Spurs are in the league. If they do lose the game, does it make much difference at this moment in time? Probably not. So it depends.
And the more important game, let's be honest, mate,
is the Champions League.
Champions League game.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with a shock Bournemouth 1-0.
Oh wow!
Brentford at home to Wolves. What's your thoughts?
As much as I want to say Wolves are going to bounce back, I just can't see it happening. And with Brentford being spanked 4-0 last game, Brentford are going to win this 2-1. Both teams have to play well.
Yeah,
both teams have to play well.
I think Brentford win. I'm going to predict a score of 2-0 to Brentford. Good evening or good afternoon, Mr. Bertram. How are you, sir?
Hey, Stan, you right?
I'm good. How are you doing? Good evening or good night. I should say good late night for you guys.
It is indeed. Definitely. It is indeed. So, did you want to? I mean, at this stage coming in, is there a method to the madness? Can we get a little Bertram-ism before we carry on with the schools?
So I've been listening to the program. I did my concerned about my team, and people be, why are you concerned about your team? You've only lost 1 game all season. But one should look at the last 5. We have these runs, On Emery went 22 unbeaten, and then we filtered out, or whatever you want to call it. And now we have 5 games. We've only scored 4 goals. And I've always been concerned about our goal scoring prowess because I don't think we have prolific goal scorers. Jesus has scored a lot of goals when he started. That's true by Apollo says. Things like 59 and 55. and which is great actually. Or 50 something. He started 59 games. His ratio is great in those 59 games. Not when he comes as a substitute. But think about Martinelli. Saka is not a great goal scorer or a scorer of great goals. Martinelli is okay, but not a great goal scorer. So is Odegaard, and Odegaard has been poor the last 3 games. You know, Paulo came for his chances created. What his entire game? That's why he got pulled the last game. Hasn't played well.
Yeah.
Right. And Vieira not pulling up trees. So think about our front four.
Yeah.
Our front four is challenge. I'm telling you. And
I agree.
I think Jesus is a confidence player. So if he's not scoring, I don't know what happens. And last game he missed a bunch of. I'm gonna call it a bunch, like 3 clear-cut chances. So I am concerned about my team. I'm not concerned about my defense, even though we're giving up goals. I'm not giving up a ton of goals. And I'm not concerned about my midfield if Partey is playing beside Xhaka. But I'm concerned about my 4 players up top, including Odegaard's. And worse of that, I'm concerned about my bench. My bench defensively is okay if you have Tierney on the bench or if you have Zinchenko coming back. But my midfield is not great in terms of a bench, and my forward line is atrocious in terms of bench. I know Apollo loves Nketiah, but I watched him the other day, Tony, not having it. Not having it. Ball bouncing off of me like he's a wall or something. The ball. I mean, the ball was just bouncing. And also Martinelli sometimes. People don't realize that.
Yeah.
Getting the ball and dead in the ball so you can move forward. The ball runs off him like it hits Lukaku sometimes.
Hey Bertram, how you doing, man? What's going on?
I'm here. How you doing?
Yeah,
What
not
I
too
would
bad.
say,
Not too bad.
I would retort about Martinelli because he certainly hasn't.
He's been poor the last few games.
On the form that I think he's shown. You know, we probably would be expecting 2 or 3 more goals by now, based on his attacking prowess, perhaps a few more assists. But I do believe, quite honestly, that when I watch him, he's easily one of the most attacking-minded footballers in the Premier League. I mean, you used to like Amand Traore in a big way, and I know you still love Alan Saint-Maximin. I would compare Gabriel Martinelli with those guys.
Tony, wait. I just said a friend of mine who was giving me a hard time on another channel. Saint-Maximum, I sent him a YouTube video. I haven't heard from him yet. I sent him a Saint-Maximum highlight. I haven't heard from him yet, Tony. I'm telling you. I haven't heard from him yet. He stopped talking. No, I'll say this. 18 asked a question, which is, why am I concerned? We've scored goals against Man City. 18. How many goals have we scored in the last 5 games? 2 against Europa League teams, by the way. Not good teams, okay teams. Last 5 games, we scored. Pepe has scored more goals than us in the last 5 games and similar number of games, frankly, playing in the Bush League. But anyway, we have scored 4 goals in the last 5 games. 4 goals, guys. Southampton, Leeds, some Europa League team I can't pronounce. PSV, come on.
Hey, PSV are a good team, man. Don't knock it. I like PSV. I think they're a quality
Subsequent to
team.
the Liverpool game, how many goals have we scored? For 3 games in Liverpool, we are struggling. And it's young kids. We don't have any adults. The team I'm concerned about top 4, people not talking about them as much, is Newcastle.
Yeah, we talked about it today.
A bunch of adults, bunch of grown-ups, all grown-ups, no kids except for Willock probably. Bunch of adults who are hard to score on. Don't they have the best goal scoring record? I mean, against record in the league in terms of goals scored. And Saint-Maximin hasn't played the last 4 or so games.
Well, he's only played 5 games. Saint-Maximin. He's got
he hasn't
a goal.
played a lot of games. He's been injured.
Yeah, he's been.
But Almiron is playing brilliantly.
Oh yeah.
Since Grealish made his comment, and if I was Almiron, I would go back at Grealish saying, "You're playing for a better team. You get more chances." How much goals have he scored all season? 1.
Yeah, he's having his best season by far. I mean, he's having a Granit Xhaka type season. Obviously, Joe Linton now is reformed as a player on the left wing. You know, he looks just a different player right now in that team. And you know, we haven't even seen the best of Isak yet, so he's to come.
Yeah.
So the difference maker for me right now is Bruno Guimaraes. He just looks so sublime.
Why didn't we buy Guimaraes? Why didn't
I
we buy
know.
Grammars? Even though if we bought him, here's the problem. If we bought him, we wouldn't see Xhaka, would we? If we bought him, we wouldn't be seeing Xhaka. I think Xhaka has been very, very good, actually.
Yeah.
I know Apollo loves Xhaka, so we wouldn't see Xhaka at all. I think Xhaka has been good for us this season. Scoring goals, playing.
He's a different player this season, isn't he, for you guys? Xhaka.
Yeah, he's a total different player. Still has the head case once in a while, like he did in midweek when he pushed a player for no reason. He just does these things. They're part of his temperament, but he's been good both ways because he's almost like a box-to-box nowadays, right? Which we didn't know he has. And I think managers have to think about this, right? Which is, I've said this 101 times. Joey Linton, Xhaka, Iwobi, they're players who have been thought about as playing at a certain position and have changed position, not because the managers were strategic, apart from Arteta, because of situation, and they've been balling out their position. Iwobi has been brilliant for Everton. Watching all the games, he's been simply brilliant.
Yeah,
I think Pepe could have played a 10.
De Bruyne's got more assists than him.
Yeah, that's right.
I think Pepe could have played a 10 for us, frankly, and does what Odegaard is doing and giving us more goals. I just think he could. Because at the 10 position, you can hide defensively. You can't hide on the wing. You're exposed.
Yeah, I think that the fact that Xhaka is athletically challenged, the number 8 position, really takes him away from the concerns of playing in the 6. And look, I think we can all agree that 2 players can't do the job of Thomas Partey, and I think we can all talk about performances. We didn't do the player ratings the other day because me and Tony just said, name me a person who turned up. I think out of the whole team, we were struggling to find the person who played well against Southampton. They weren't good. I mean, we can go through the whole from back to front. I know people have talked about,
but guys, we start off most games really well. Here's my concern: almost every game we start really well. We're dominating possession. We're playing the team of the park, and then it fizzles out.
Yeah, we discussed that about 10 minutes before you joined the stream. Charles Watts did a video and was talking about the kilometers run, the shots, everything. There's a massive drop-off in the second half, but that's only come over the last 3 or 4 games. So something is fundamentally going on. And look, if we don't have the data and we're talking about it, you can be sure that Albert Headphones and Arteta are talking about it. So they know what's going on.
But how do you counter that? You need to give players more time to recoup. I mean, clearly fatigue is part of the reason why you stop running at a particular point.
Plus you've also got to look at how the World Cup has affected the league as well, because there's a lot more games that kind of crammed in that same short space of time to accommodate for the World Cup.
I have a question for you guys. What was the purpose of playing Vieira out wide when he had Nelson on the bench last game?
Oh, I don't know. I don't get it.
Vieira didn't beat one person on the wing, I'm watching the entire game. He didn't go by his man. He didn't even try to go by his man once.
No, he's not that kind of player, is he?
So, Bertram, did you hear me and Tony on the live stream talking about his performance, comparing it to when he's played previously? He's been a middleweight, and last weekend he was a bantamweight.
He needs to go in the gym. That's all I know.
He reminds me of when Laurent Koscielny first came to Arsenal, and he was like, "What?" And then you see how he beefed up after a season, but his torso got really, really stout, and you're just like, "Yeah, now I can understand what you're doing." He's got some.
Yeah, my guy needs to look at the Michael Jordan footage of 1980, whatever it was.
Oh yeah, he just. That was a different man altogether, right?
83 to like 5 years later or 3 years later.
But guys, what I've noticed now, I'm looking at BBC Sports and seeing some of the teams talking, and fans are now loving the fact that some players are not going to the World Cup. Teams are celebrating. Normally, when your player gets chosen to go to the World Cup, you're like, yeah, I can't wait to see him take on the best players in the world. Now, fans are just like, oh, great, he's not going to the World Cup now.
You know why?
Injuries, man. You're looking at injuries, aren't you?
It's not in the summer, right? It's not in the summer. You have time to recuperate. So people are concerned about you go now, you come back in December, because there's no recuperation time, right?
Yeah, but you got to ask, Apollo, you got to ask yourself the question, what's more important to fans, the World Cup or the league?
The league. What do you mean?
There you go.
Always gonna be
That's
the
why
league.
that's
Always.
why
It's your
that's why they're
team.
happy their players aren't going to the World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
for some countries like Brazil, no. There's some countries there's no comparison, but for other countries, especially the ones not going, it's got to be the league.
I mean, think about it, right? Your big players go to the World Cup, they play for their national teams, and they come back injured
Yeah.
halfway through the season.
Think about
Yeah.
Partey. There's no way Partey go to the World Cup. Come back in one piece.
You know, and that's the risk that they take when they play the international games.
Yeah. But Tony, we should have bought Guimaraes, regardless of Jacques. He's a brilliant player.
He is.
He's
He
a very
is.
good player.
Yeah.
He's a joy to watch play. He's absolutely sublime on the ball.
Yeah, he's brilliant, and he plays both ways too, which we need, frankly.
Brazil, guys, I just wanna give you Brazil's midfield, right? Listen to this, right? Ribeiro, Fred, Fabinho, Paqueta, Casemiro, Guimaraes, Coutinho, Douglas Luiz. Well, Arthur's injured, so can't talk about him. Allen at Everton, Gerson at Marseille. That's just their midfield. Yeah.
No, the forward line is better. The wingers are better. The wingers where it's a problem. The wing is much better.
Listen to the strikers. Listen.
Yeah.
Neymar, Fabinho, Richarlison, Junior, Anthony, Rafinha, Kunan, Pedro, Jesus, Martinelli, Barbosa. Well, don't worry about Hulk. He ain't going nowhere. And the Benfica guy, Neres. The Benfica
You didn't
guy,
mention Vinicius Junior or
Yeah,
Rodrigo.
I mentioned
Exactly.
Junior. I said Junior. Yeah, I mean,
And
guys,
the young
look,
kid from Barcelona.
the young kid from Barcelona.
Fat.
He's
No,
from
he's not
Barcelona.
No, yeah, it's not ahead of Rafinha. Mate, he ain't even whoever that guy is, he ain't gonna get in this team, is he? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That sounds like a very good squad, man.
This
That's a good
squad
squad.
is just. I'm not even going to talk about the defense.
They need to be
That's
doing
sometimes
well.
not
With
good,
players
you know.
like that,
That's
they need to
sometimes
be
not
doing
good.
well.
Sometimes
Actually,
that's
I
not
will
good.
talk
You have
about
too
the
many
defense.
players.
Felipe, Gabriel Arsenal, Gilberto Benfica, Emerson Royal Tottenham, Dani Alves, Bremer Juventus, Sandro Juventus, Lodi, Tellez Sevilla, Danilo. Wow, I mean Marquinhos, Paris Saint-Germain, Thiago Silva. This is ridiculous. You know what, Bertram? I wouldn't mind if Jesus and Martinelli stayed at home, bro. I'm telling you.
I don't care. You didn't mention their goalkeepers.
Yeah,
Right, exactly.
Who's the goalkeepers? They got
Alisson.
Santos, Ederson, and Alisson.
Yeah.
Just two of the best in the world. Yeah.
Just two of the best in the world.
That's stupid. That's ridiculous. I wouldn't like to be the person who's picking that squad.
In it.
That's ridiculous. I
Yeah.
think they're going to win it anyway. I think I said that before. I
don't know. You don't win it on paper. You don't win it on paper.
No.
Brazil lost in '82 to Italy. You don't win on paper.
Yeah.
But
That
you know,
82 side was a brilliant side.
But what I said, Bertram, was I was looking around to see who can actually beat them, and that's when I came to the epiphany that they're going to win it. But you
France.
No, I think France and Argentina give them a hard time in Copa America.
Yeah. Belgium.
Belgium always caved.
Belgium. For me, Belgium always kind of underperform when they need to.
Yeah, but
the
when you got
most
those
important
guys,
games,
when
they
you
just
look at
they
their
keep
squad
throwing
of
it away.
players, bro.
No, they got a good squad, just like Netherlands have a good potential squad, yeah. But
No,
yet when it
Netherlands
comes to
you
playing,
can't count Netherlands.
no, I think they've always had a good squad. They've just never been able to perform to the standards that you expect from them.
Yeah, but right now they don't even have a
way.
striker. They don't have a
that's true.
striker. They don't.
That's true.
But Belgium have everything. They have world-class defenders, world-class goalkeeper in Courtois, world-class strikers. You know, the best player in the midfield in the world, in Kevin De Bruyne. They have it all.
They have it all, but
they lack.
They have it all, but the important games they just don't do it.
Yeah, but at
That's
some
the team
point
that lost
in time,
4-0 to Net.
Exactly.
Hey, Tony, is that a team that lost 4-0 to the Netherlands in the Nations Cup?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but at some point in time, because don't forget that Italy are the European champions, aren't going to the World Cup. At some point in time, Greece,
It's a
at
tournament.
some
It's
point
a
in
tournament.
time, Denmark, all European champions.
No, don't get me
When
wrong.
it's your
Yeah,
time, it's your time.
you're right. But at the end of the day, Belgium have never done it when they've needed to do it.
Neither of Holland.
Yeah, I know.
But Holland's been to finals and semifinals. Belgium hasn't. Belgium what? They would have won semifinal. Yeah, one semifinal last one. I think.
Belgium have a great
They did
squad.
lose
They
to.
just don't. They just haven't won. You know,
Well, the
that
defense is
big
getting
one
old,
game they
right? The
need to.
defense is getting old. The
Yeah.
defense is getting old. Yeah, defense is not what it used to be.
Well,
Remember
we'll
Barnes
What,
see
and
what
what
happens
Walls?
as well.
country? What country does Fofana play for?
France.
Oh yeah,
France has a ton. You're talking
Yeah.
about young and
Yeah.
old. France has a
Yeah.
ton of players.
yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure.
you look at their team. They have our person, right? They have our center half. They have Fofana. They have a bunch of players. You can name.
There's lots of teams.
Even though
that are,
Varane being hurt may be a good thing for France. Yeah,
there's
might
lots
be a
of
good thing
teams
for France
that,
if Varane is
there's
hurt.
quite a few teams that are gonna do well in the World Cup.
Anyway, we've digressed. Let's get back into the predictions. Neil,
Well, hold
Brighton
on.
at
Do
home to
you want to go
home
back?
to Chelsea, the West
I was gonna
London.
say.
No,
I was gonna say.
sorry,
Do you want to
go
go back up to the top and let Bertrand kind of give quick?
catch up. Okay, Bertram, Leicester, Man
Okay.
City.
Man City 3-1 versus Leicester. I should say 6-1, but I'm gonna say 3-1.
Bournemouth,
Leicester
Tottenham.
leaks goals. Tottenham, Tottenham.
Bournemouth.
Is that Bournemouth?
Yeah,
It's at
Bournemouth.
I'm gonna say 2-2. Tottenham flat as the
Okay.
sea.
Brentford at home to
Wolves.
Wolves.
2-1 Brentford. I think David
Uh,
Costa will break his duck.
We-
Brighton, Chelsea. 2-1 Chelsea.
Neil, you haven't done Brighton, Chelsea, Neil?
No. I was gonna say 2-1 to Chelsea as well.
Okay, I'm gonna go 3-1 to Chelsea.
Oh wow.
Bertram, Palace at home to Southampton.
2-1 Palace. 2-1 Palace.
I say
Neil?
2-1 Southampton. 2-1 Southampton.
I'm gonna go in the middle, 1-1. Newcastle at home to Aston Villa. Ooh, this becomes a bit of a spicy game. Bertram.
3-1 Newcastle.
Listen, if this is the Villa that played last week, 1-0 Villa.
Wow.
You have what Newcastle? Have you, Neil?
Sorry?
Newcastle,
They're
because
hard to
they've
beat.
got
No. Don't get me wrong. I like Newcastle, and I think they're a great
home.
side.
They're at home.
yeah.
Listen, man.
The 12th man makes a difference for Newcastle.
I'm saying if the Villa that turned up last week, that played last week, I think it'll be a low scoring game, but I think Villa will nick it.
Okay, I'm going Newcastle 2-0. Bertram, Fulham at home to Everton.
I'm gonna say Everton 2-1.
Resurgent. Yeah.
I think Everton hasn't had a bad game since I watched them all season.
Yeah.
Just can't score enough goals, and Calvin Lewin is back. I'm gonna say 2-1 Everton.
Neil?
1-1.
I'm joining Bertram with the Everton win. I'd go 2-1 to Everton. Bertram, Liverpool at home to Leeds.
Leeds hasn't won in 8 games? I'm gonna say 3-1 Liverpool.
2-0 Liverpool.
This is an interesting one. I'm going for a shock here. I'm going for a 1-1. Stan, Bertram, Arsenal at home to Forest.
5 love Forest. I'm gonna say we break our scoring drought and say 3-1 Arsenal.
Neil?
I say 3-0 Arsenal.
So 3 seems to be the magic number. I'm going with Arsenal 3-0 as well, Neil.
Cool.
And the last game, Bertram, Manchester United at home to West Ham.
I'm gonna say 2-2.
Neil?
As much as I hate to say, I think this will be 2-1 United. They're on a bit of a roll at the moment.
West Ham played well against you guys, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to join Neil on a 2-1 Man United win. So that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes this weekend's show. Champions League again in the midweek and Europa League action, the final round of fixtures in that round before the World Cup break. Been great to see you, Bertram. As always, Neil, fantastic to see you. My best wishes to the family. Thank you, everyone in the chat. Layunda, Stan, 18, KS, Cam, Stu. Thank you for everyone's comments. Thank you all for staying up. Don't forget to hit the like button on the way out. And we will see you again next week. We will, of course, be on live on Sunday for the Arsenal at home to
Nottingham Forest
watch along. Yeah. I shall be running that one while Apollo will be at the game.
Guys, Tony, just before we go, I love Bertram's support of the Knicks. They're 3-1 right now, and the Giants as well. And I've been waiting because the Giants, they've been pissing Bertram off for a long time. And it's really nice. No, they've really been upsetting him for a long time. So I want to ask him how he feels now that they're doing really well. Remember, guys, this is a team that just couldn't play because of the quarterback and a few injuries. And now it looks like they got themselves together, and they're still not getting anything out of Golloway at wide receiver. They still have Shepherd, but it's just working. So Bertram, how are you feeling about those teams at the moment, Knicks and Giants?
So I'll take the lesser of the two, the Giants, which can sound strange me saying that. So even though we're on a winning streak, we have been winning games we're not supposed to win. Like, we beat Baltimore because Baltimore snatched defeat from the jaws of victory, frankly. We beat Green Bay. We won some games, you're just like, how do we win? But the quarterback is playing for a contract, which is a good thing. And he's mobile. He has a good arm. Our running back is recovering his form and playing really well. So I'm encouraged by how we're going. I'm not getting overexcited because I still don't see, I'm just the Giants being dominant. Dominant defense, good offense, carry us to Super Bowls, at least 2 in my lifetime. So my hope is that we continue playing well. As for the Knicks, we have a leader. Go ahead.
I want to talk about the Giants because, unfortunately, the way I look at NFL now is officiating as meant that you can no longer dominate teams. Because effectively, tackling is not allowed.
True.
Yeah.
There literally is. There are players on the pitch. The only player you can tackle is the running back.
You can tackle wide receiver. You can't hit him. You can't hit him certain ways, right? You gotta hug him up. You gotta hug him up. You gotta hug him up.
and because of that, because of these rule changes and the way that officiating goes on, you look at play now and you just think you just can't do stuff. You can't touch the quarterback.
You can't touch the quarterback. Yeah. It's flag football. It's flag football. And it's for the safety reason.
It means that you end up with games like 44-38, which is a very entertaining game. But let's be honest, nobody played defense.
Yeah.
It's frustrating because I'm sitting there watching the games, and you stop a team for 3 quarters, and then the only time that they start advancing down the field is when they're getting called for pass interference calls. And it's just like, sometimes I see 2 or 3 calls in one drive in the 4th quarter. And I'm just like, are you mad? Is this the only way that you can get into a position to score?
Every game, Apollo.
Yeah, but just for the next, we bought a point guard who's very, very good. A leader. We have a leader like Xhaka leads Arsenal. You give a couple of hard times. We have a leader. And he orchestrates things. He doesn't turn the ball over. He put people in position. We could have even won our first game. We could have been 4-0. Could have beat the Grizzlies. Tonight is going to be a test. We're playing Milwaukee, so we'll see how that goes. But we're going to be better than last year. So. But it's good. It's good, Paulo. It's good to have 3 teams that I support who are doing well, actually. And hopefully
That's
Arsenal will
good,
win
man.
on Sunday and put us in a better position so we can be Chelsea following.
I
And
agree.
I hope Liverpool lose, because if your team lose nil and finish down within the top 4, if you lose and Newcastle lose and Tottenham lose, we'll be guaranteed the top 4. If you keep winning, it's not a good thing. 'Cause
See my
I'm
eyebrow?
really concerned about.
See my
I'm
eyebrow?
really concerned about Newcastle. Actually, I'm really concerned about Newcastle.
Like I said, guys, Man United, Chelsea, and Newcastle. Watch out for those teams. Watch out. Watch out for those
Newcastle
teams.
doesn't have any European football to play. Have a bunch of adults in their team. Have a halfway decent bench. Think about Shelby still on the bench, just coming
Yeah.
back. Isak has not played because he's been injured. They have a halfway decent bench.
Yep, and Chris Woods. All right, guys, listen, we'll catch up with you guys on Sunday, and that's it for us, man. Peace out, everybody,
Cool.
and see you in
All
the
right.
next one, man.
Have a good one, people.
Nice one,
See you
guys.
later.